Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Brian, and this is the Badger Lodge. So, I was supposed to have a screener, and nobody is here. So, I'm going to have to figure out a different way to do this. So here's what I'm going to do. You can join the chat. I think there's a general text chat. I'm in the showroom by myself. So I will take your calls. There's a link in the description. Try to get in. There should be a current link to get into the call-in show. Let me know if it works okay. And what we're going to do is I'm going to try to be the screener and the host at the same time. This is probably going to be really, like, I don't know, messy, I suppose. It's going to be a trash fire. It's going to be a train wreck. But I'm going to do my best. So, because I said I was going to do a show. And when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. I commit to the bit. So there is a link to call in. You can give me your thoughts on whatever you like. I want to start off 2024 right. And I'm going to try to do call-in shows at least once a month so that you, the audience, can have a voice and sort of like, spill your guts. So, please do. Let's make the conversation happen. If you do get into the call-in show, into the Discord, that is, put a comment if you're allowed to text in the text chat. Just say I'm here so that I can see you, and then I can give you permission to join the screening room if you don't have access. Otherwise, if you can get into the screening room, go in there, and I'll just join you in the screening room. We'll do a reverse screen. So enter the screening room, and I'll go in there, and we'll make sure that your settings are good, and we'll see what happens. Otherwise, this might be a very short show, and for that, I apologize. Because, like, without a screener, this is going to be, pretty hard. But since I'm here, I may as well share some thoughts. So I wanted to know if you've been doing this for a while, you've been thinking about these issues, you've been a part of this discussion for a while. Have you ever tried to talk to a friend or family member about these things? Maybe you used to hold us, maybe you used to be more of a gynocentric guy. Maybe you believed in feminism, agreed with it, or you believed all of the stuff that we're constantly told about women and men and whatever those dynamics are, right? So maybe you believe those things, and you grew up around people, family members, friends, whatever, coworkers, and then this happened. And you started like getting, red pilled or whatever you want to call it on this whole thing, and then you're like, oh man, this is really fascinating. I want to share this with my friends. I want to share this with people in my family. It explains so much, right? Like maybe you had a revelation. Maybe you understood, like, why all your friends ended up getting divorced or something of the like, right? Why did this happen to this guy you knew was a decent guy, right? And what was their reaction? Did you guys bond over that? Or did they disavow you? Did they disown you as a friend or as a family member even? Did you lose contact with people as a result of this? Or were you made to be more alone? And I'll tell you, for me, it's a bit of both. So, I got a super chat. I might as well put it up on the screen. Thank you, Albert. Albertatus Retro gives us $2 Canadian. Says, just saying, hey, Brian. Gives me a thumbs up and a clinking beer mugs. Thank you. So, I'll tell you, I got a little bit of both. So, I have I used to have a lot of friends when I lived in Chicago. There was one guy, and I still talk to him. I was just talking to him before I came in here and started the show. I've known him since before I could remember knowing anyone. So I've known him for close to, Smokey Joe showed up. Smokey Joe, go into the screen. Can you get into the screening room? So I knew him for longer than I remember like knowing anyone. I don't know if you've got people that you remember that way, right? So I was probably like, I don't even know when we met. I was probably 4 years old, maybe five, and I still talk to him. And now, it's been at least 45 years, right? And we like I told him about this stuff and he watches us and he agrees. And I'm amazed by that. So there are some people who have like taken, and maybe he knew this himself. I wouldn't even pretend like I taught him anything. Like, he's a little older than me, maybe like by a few months, right? We're very close in age. Um but I think that he was aware of this, right? And he's been through, some stuff like some relationship stuff, but not anything terrible. I mean, he's married and he's still with the same woman and they have children. And his daughter, is a great person. I think she's college grad and she's going into the world now. And he's got a son and his son is in high school. I think he's probably graduating high school soon. So, he's doing good. I think he's doing pretty well. And then I have other friends that they have been married and they got divorced and they were put through the ringer. And they don't talk to me anymore. They don't like what I've had to say, which is weird because you would think that someone who's had firsthand experience with a divorce or losing access to their children, you would think that someone like that would be like on board. They don't seem to be. I'm going to give Smokey Joe, let me see, what permissions can I give him? I'm going to put him in the caller position. So I just gave you caller role, Smokey. So you should be able to enter the screening room, I think. Let me know if it works for you. And this extends out, right? So like obviously on this channel we talk about men's issues, but once you start on that road, a bunch of other things start to like fall into place. And I have pissed off people that I had known for 20 or 30 or 35 years because my perspective, evolved. Like I learned some things about the world and I lost them as friends. And I had a conversation with a guy not long ago, and the stuff that he accused me of it's like one of these things where they don't tell you to your face. Like they don't say, I think you're this, but instead they imply it like, well, it seems to me that based on how you're saying these things, that I think maybe kind of, sort of, like this is why people don't like you. It's like, it sucks, man. It sucks to hear it from people you've known for a very long time. That they have like, I don't understand it because if I knew someone for 20 years or 30 years, I would not think the worst of them because they had some kind of revelation or they have like proposed like something. Especially when these people know that I've been doing this work, like this men's issue stuff, talking about, all kinds of issues, right? Divorce, false allegations, child custody, paternity fraud, paternity, what is it called? Wrongful paternity, domestic violence, like propaganda campaigns that are anti-male, like just all of that, right? The racial dynamics and the other dynamics, the critical theory stuff. And I've talked to guests that are, they run the spectrum, like sheriffs, like police chiefs. I've talked to lawyers, I've talked to therapists, I've talked to psychologists, I've talked to researchers, I've talked to academics, I've talked to politicians, I've talked to pundits, I've talked to all kinds of people who work in and around this stuff. And I've been doing it for longer than any other job I've ever had. Like 10 years, right? Longer than any other job. And yet my opinions still like are dismissed. Like you just get this, well, have you considered like this other perspective. It's like, well, yes, this is what I do. I've read countless academic papers. Like this is like what I'm saying. I'm not going to make the claim that it's an absolute truth, but what I'm going to say is I have experience with it. I'm not casually going into this, and then they'll tell me, well, I'm a critical thinker, about themselves, right? I'm a critical thinker, which means I consider all points of view. And I'm like, I know what you're going to say before you say it because I've looked at it already. I've been doing this for a long time. This kind of reminds me of like, and these are people I've known for forever. So, like, have you ever had a person in your life that you have known for decades, and for whatever reason, maybe you met them when you were children, right? Or teenagers. For whatever reason, they think that they have grown up, but you have not. That you haven't changed, that you're still naive, that you're still, like a child. And so they still see you that way, and so they still treat you that way. It could be family members too, right? Like my mother kind of does this a little bit with me. She'll be like, well, honey, I know this, that, and the other. And it's like, Mom, I'm 50 years old. I'm a grown ass man. Like how, like you can't talk to me like that anymore. Right? So, I don't know. Let me see what, okay. So I guess what I'm getting at is, and this might be a short stream and I apologize if that's the case, because I'm not getting a lot of people coming in here. I did see Smokey Joe say hello, and I'm trying to figure out why he hasn't come in here yet or tried to. Maybe you're in the live chat. If you are, you can just say I'm Smokey Joe and trying to get in there or whatever. So, but let me look at some of your comments. Let me know if you guys had this experience, and how do you feel about it? Like, do you feel like, because I feel hurt by this. I know I shouldn't. I know people say, well, just forget about it or whatever. But it's one thing when it's from a stranger. Like when I spoke to this, Sergio character during our Christmas stream, and he was like trying to say all this shit. I don't know that motherfucker. So it was easy to dismiss him because he doesn't know me. And I would even tell him, you don't know me, right? But these are people I've known for 20 or 30 years. Mr. Blur is in the screening room. I'm going to bring him in here. Let me look at some of your comments first. So let me bring Mr. Blur in here real quick. Okay, Mr. Blur is muted. I'm going to try to, can I unmute you, or can you unmute yourself? Can you unmute? Or you know what? I'm going to put you back. And I'm going to go in there. Okay, this should work better. Hey, man, what's up?
All right, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you just fine.
All right, cool. So
what's on your mind?
You might have seen my comments in the chat, but that's actually not that's actually not what was on my mind. So I was thinking,
Mm-hmm.
I I'd be like, I come on here a lot, thinking about, what the purpose of all this stuff is, and I think I finally hit an answer.
Okay.
It's ultimately, when it comes down to it, any school of thought, any, I guess, for lack of a better term, camp. Ultimately, what we're trying to do is get people to make, at least what's in our opinion, better decisions about their lives.
On
And
the micro level, yes.
Yeah, and it's so far proven to be a Sisyphean. It's not entirely, not a fruitless, but but definitely a Sisyphean task.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And,
think
and
I
then
think it's, well, the thing is we're trying to deprogram like the way these, some of us have been conditioned since birth. So it's not a small job, right?
yeah, and when I think more about it, it's like, okay, so every school thought, any camp that you can think of, we're all critical of men's actions in one way or another, in some non insignificant way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like every facet of society does that. So it's like men get it from all sides, no matter where he goes. It's like, yeah, it kind of becomes white noise after a while. But with women, it's kind of it's kind of the opposite, depending on where you go. It's like
Yeah.
they don't want to tell you can't tell women anything. And it's like when you got camps like us, we're like, okay, stop stop going after the guys that look good but don't have anything going for them, because that's just going to end in pain. And then it inevitably ends up in pain, and it's like I don't even have the heart to say I told you so, because it's like you have to live with your consequences, the consequences of your choices, not me.
Yeah.
It's like the consequences of their actions don't just affect them, because there's that stat, like 45% of women will be single and childless by what, 2030, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this like the single mother epidemic. We're not going to see the consequences of the choices made now for like at least another 2 decades. And when that comes around, that's gonna be that's gonna be fun. Oh, the autistic screeching heard around the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Seriously.
the chickens are going to come home to roost, as you say. You know, I think that's true. Um, but I think that you're right. I mean, I think that it's, on the micro level, we want to help each other, essentially, like make the most of of our situation and try to be like the best version of ourselves, and how to sort of deal with, like living under this in this society as it is now. And I think a lot of that comes down to also giving men tools to, see, like, um through the veil of gynocentrism, as it were, so that they don't misstep and destroy their own lives, or at least do a lot of harm to it. And I think that another big part of this is building community. So this is why I've been doing a lot of stuff on the gaming channel, because if guys are like in the chat hanging out, sharing ideas, like making jokes, whatever, I think it builds community. And I think that's all, and that's what Allison's doing with the Discord, right? And I think that men need community with other men. Like, I mean, they do, and we can't get it anywhere. And this has been, Paul's talked about it, and there was a discussion. Well, that's why he runs the XY crew, right? And he's also going, like, I had a lunch with him not long ago. Lindsay and I met Paul for lunch, Paul Elam, and he is in a men's group um, at a church that he goes to. And he said that he's going to, like, suss it out to see, if it's like more red pill or not. And then if it isn't, he's going to like nudge it in that direction. So I mean, I think that's really great idea. That's what that, and I think that's on the micro level. And on the macro level, I think that there should be advocacy to change laws and to affect policy and stuff. But I think on the micro level, it's going to be a longer lasting change. And so yeah, I agree with you. But that is ultimately like what I'm trying to do. So
But it's like with the way things are now, it's like it's almost like women don't really have an incentive to think long term,
they don't. But
and
that's not.
that's
Yeah, that's true. But I do think I do think that there could be some change. I saw like a here's an interesting thing, and then some of you guys might not like this, but I think this is true. Okay, no matter what happens, some of us are forming families, and I think it's going to be the um either the people who commit to a marriage and have children, or it's going to be people who try to live the single life until like they can't anymore. And unfortunately, it's going to be really like bad for women and men. But at the end of the day, the Christians are making babies, and they're gonna be here when everyone else is gone. So like however you feel about Christianity or Islam, because they're making babies too, it don't matter because they're making babies, so they're gonna be here, right? And I shared this video I saw. Oh, yeah, actually, it played in the beginning, not today, but like not long ago. I think it played in the beginning of a show, and it was a girl who was cutting onions terribly, right? And she was. Did you see that video, Mister Blur?
No.
Okay, so I did a show. I think it was the last two shows, not this one, but the one before and the one before that, maybe. Oh, it might have just been one, but there was a girl dressed up in like a kind of she was like a trad thought, right? And she was like cutting an onion, and she was talking about like, don't tell the feminists this, but I really like serving my man food or something like that, right? It was a little cringe, but I wanted to share it because what was interesting is that I shared this video on X, and it's the most popular post I have. And I haven't been on X that long, maybe I don't know, maybe a few months, I think. Yeah, I haven't been on X very long, but this has had like hundreds of thousands of impressions. And what is interesting is the number of men who are like, where can I find a woman like this? Now, there are a lot of men saying this is fake and like that she's terrible at cutting onions. Even my wife said, Lindsay said that. She was like, her knife work is like, it's triggering me. And I get that it's not like she's clearly playing a character, but my point is that even if that is true, there is a then that means that there is a trend that men are responding to that these women are trying to create, right? And that means that some women are going to look at that and say, "Oh wait, maybe if I do this for real." You know what I mean? And so I do think that there is like there are people waking up to this reality, and there's also more and more women that are like realizing that this whole like wait until you're 30 to settle down kind of thing is not working for them because and so this the old where have all the good men gone thing, that's becoming reality. And I think it's not going to work out for everybody, but I do think that as a sort of like, in an abstract way, there's going to be a shift. And it doesn't, like I said, it won't matter because like in like a generation, there's just going to be the people who had babies, and the people who didn't are going to die off, or they're going to become dependents. And a lot of times the people who are making families are also probably going to be homesteading. They're going to have their own shit. So they don't even need the infrastructure. They're just going to be like, yeah, we're just going to have an outhouse and some chickens, and we're going to be by a river, and we're going to be fine, right? So not saying it's going to be great, but I think that what it is I think it's evidence that things are going to balance out whether you like it or not. So, I mean, I hope women wake up, but they may not think they have an incentive, but it doesn't matter because what they're doing is unsustainable, and they're going to feel the pain. So
Yeah. So feminism is what we call a self-correcting problem.
it is, but it's also one that can only exist in like in like a society that has extreme security and comfort. Once the shit starts hitting the fan, like even when they were just talking about like the draft, right? They were talking about extending imposing the draft and extending it to women. Like women everywhere, like, well, actually, then I'm just gonna like be a housewife now, right? Now, of course, the damage is done. Like it's been done before we were born, so there's no correcting it. But I mean, in a way, we have to hit rock bottom and then bounce off the bottom and kind of like reset. And that probably won't happen in my lifetime, but I think that talking about it is uh is a benefit. So
Uh, and I'm looking at the live chat. I see Monkaka 92 there. And like, yeah, that's not unrelated, but
yeah, I know
slightly
they're saying
different.
that
But I think
China's gonna swoop in, and I mean I guess we're just gonna be learning Chinese then. But I'm saying we're gonna live, like we'll get on with it. That may happen, but I mean, what are we gonna do? Women are not, like you
yeah,
said, women are not motivated to like do anything for anybody but themselves. Like we've literally incentivized like narcissism and selfishness in women. So that's what we're gonna get. So, and that's the thing too, like going back to my original topic, I brought this stuff up with a friend of mine, and well, a person who I would have considered a friend from my part, and they were, like pissed off with me because I said that. Like women wouldn't like women would never do that. And it's like they're doing it now. Like they're already doing it. Like you're going to live in a world where there are like going to be harems because women are going to be involved with only the top 1%. They're already looking for the top 1%. They're going to call all the other men dusty. They're not going to want to be involved with them. They're going to get like degrees and like, 6 figures in debt because they think the degree just means they're going to make money. It's not. They're going to want to settle down and have kids. They're going to have all this debt. And, they're only like the top men are going to be able to even sustain them. And most of them are going to get rejected because when you look at the top men, they're going to pick the top women. They're not going to pick any old, used up piece of meat. They're just going to be, and they can call them meat because again, they're going to be the ones that have the pick of the litter. So what are you going to do? Call them a misogynist? They're not going to give a shit. Like that's not going to work anymore. So look, what's going to happen is going to happen. I'm just saying like what I think we should be doing is preparing people for that in case it happens in our lifetime and just be ready. Cause like, yeah, it's going to be tough, man. Drink water.
Yeah, the story unfortunately doesn't just end with them dying alone. Because the middle part of that story is that they keep voting in more and more bullshit, and then it
Yeah.
becomes everyone's problem.
Well, of course, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yes, another thing that like this guy that I knew was pissed at me for when I told him, because he thinks, I don't know, he thinks that the government can solve problems. So I don't know what to say to that. Like,
That poor man.
if you bring the ring to Gondor, we'll only use it at the most at the utmost end of need. And I don't know. I'm just like, yeah, and of course I'm the dumbass, right? I'm the one who's naive. I'm the one who's stupid. Even though this is what I've been doing for the last 10 years. So anyway, I mean, ultimately talking about feminism means talking about the role of government in your life. That's ultimately what it really means.
Yes, and the government doesn't solve problems. The government is the problem.
Yes, it is. But
it's pretty much always been the problem when you think about it.
yeah. Have you ever lost any friends over this stuff? Or family members or anything like that? Co-workers?
I mean,
or do you keep most of this stuff to yourself?
Well, I keep most of this stuff to myself now.
Oh, okay.
Because I know my mother and her husband. I broached some of the surface level stuff a while ago, and they were not receptive.
No.
Yeah. and then it happened that stepfather he learned and he heard part of one of the podcasts. This was one of your episodes. This was years ago, mind you. I think it was a Rant Zerker. But
Oh, really?
it was one on Father's Day. But yeah, since then I don't know what he's seen, but he's said before that he thinks this stuff is poison.
Yeah,
And I don't
get
know
that's
what
what I got told too. He was
I don't know
basically
what he
saying
means
that
by
I'm gonna become like, I don't know, like it's just like the pipe, what do they call it? Like the far right pipeline type of thing. Oh, you're gonna start here, and next thing you know, you're gonna be gassing the Jays. And I'm like, no, I just want them to stop cutting boys' penises. So, that's not the same, but yeah.
I don't know what he meant by that, but I haven't tried to broach the topic since
Yeah.
because I know myself and I'm gonna end up fighting with my mom and I don't have the energy for it.
Mm-hmm. No, I
And
get it.
and as for there was another time where I kind of got into it with some high school friends about Roe v. Wade, and I haven't spoken to them since.
Ooh, that's another one. That's a yeah. Did
Yeah, because
let me what surface level stuff did you bring up with your parents? Like, do you remember? You said you broached some surface level stuff. Like, I'm curious what surface level.
uh,
Like repeal the
so
19th? It's not surface level, but
no, I think it was the wage gap.
oh yeah, that's the most basic bitch talking point there is. And they didn't respond well
Yeah,
to that.
nope. It was, I think I even remember some of the context. It was like I was reading Warren Farrell's book,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things that was in the book. I think it's
Oh, I
the
know why men earn more or something like that.
no, not that one. It was fuck, what was it? Shit, it's I'm forgetting the name, but it's like the first book in his like a series.
Oh, oh wow. Women don't hear what men don't say, something like that. Is that the one?
No,
That
no,
was a
no,
book
not
that he
that
wrote,
one.
I think. Hmm?
It's like not that one.
Okay. Well, I think I know what you're saying. He's just written a number of books, so what okay, let me ask you one last thing,
And,
and then I'm gonna send you on your way. So, because we are talking about how do you bring this stuff up? Because I think if people are not more aware of it, then um I don't think much is gonna change. But it is a really difficult thing. I think it's the hardest thing, honestly. Talking about men's issues with people. I think it's probably one of the hardest things. Even though most men do have a story to tell. Like I haven't met one guy who doesn't have a story to tell once I get them thinking about oh, the myth of male power, is that the
oh,
one?
fuck, yeah, that was it. Richard got
Okay,
it.
the myth of male power. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
don't
that
I
was it.
yeah. So okay. So let me ask you this. What is one issue that you think would be the most palatable for normies to take on as a men's issue?
Mm,
Probably
well,
like what do you think would be the least let's say the least um I don't know, like the one that would get the least amount of disgust response.
uh,
The
I
least
mean, just as a
yeah, child custody for example, or um maybe like financial abortion, like whatever, something, right? Like the thing that's like the least contemptible men's issue, the one that people can't really like, that you think they're least likely to fight against, to the more likely to be receptive to.
my first instincts,
Yeah,
I'd probably have to say suicide.
suicide.
because
Yeah,
because that's something that's literally just happening. It's like there's
it
no
is
there's no
happening.
argument. There's no argument that men are just killing themselves,
Yeah, I mean,
and then they'll
people
get
do make
into
arguments about male fragility and toxic masculinity and stuff, but
yeah that but then that's my and then when I take that train of thought further, that's the next step. That's the next stop. It's
yeah,
like then they're going to attribute some nonsense like toxic masculinity. It's like, all right, now I'm resisting the urge to smack the shit out of you
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because you're
But
essentially
I think,
blaming men.
well, I think people are
You're blaming
programmed
men
to
for the
have that
reasons they kill
response.
themselves.
Yeah,
Okay, we kind of spoke at the same time there. What'd you say?
I said people are programmed. There are pre-programmed responses to like every, like men's issue case that's made. I won't call it a talking point because that suggests that there's no substance, but like there is a case that men's issues advocates make, and there is a programmed auto response, right? So, for example, I think the number one that should be the easiest to put out there without strong opposition, it should be, is probably circumcision or male genital mutilation, because it happens to a helpless newborn. Like, how can you possibly make the case against it? And yet people are pre-programmed with a response. Like they'll be like, well, it's it's cleaner or it's safer or something, right? Or I've even heard this from people who used to be MRAs. Oh, women prefer it, you know? And it's, I mean, I know those are ridiculous cases to make, absolutely ridiculous, but they do. So, I mean, I think that we have to like, okay, you have to have like a counter argument prepared for their pre-programmed arguments, because that's what it is. People just regurgitate, like false allegations. What do they say to that? Oh, it's only 4%.
Oh,
Like
it's
even
two,
people
oh,
who
like
know the
two to,
statistic are going to say that, right?
oh yeah,
Um,
2 to four
yeah,
percent, and it's just like
or when men are raped,
even if
what
it
is
were
what is
true,
the Joe Rogan response? What did Joe Rogan say when he would joke about MRA saying, "Well, men get raped more when you include prison rape." What is his counter to that? Well, he'll say by other men, right? Which does nothing. It doesn't, like, he thinks it's a counter. He thinks it's clever, but it's not. Plus, there's more data coming out that shows that women are just as sexually aggressive, but like it's the way that they do it and the way that it's reported and the way that it's sort of like recorded that changes those numbers. So I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. Like, I'll ask you guys that too. Like, what do you think the number? What if you were going to introduce the topic of men's issues to people who are blue pilled in your circle? I would, first of all, I wouldn't do it unless you thought that you could trust them with this information. Because I used to fight with my university professors about this all the time, and they had to pass me because I was a damn good student. But I'm pretty sure that like if I had done that more recently, I could have gotten kicked out of college for saying that like rape culture does not exist, which is what I used to say. And of course, my professors thought, "Oh, you just hate women." I was like, "Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm telling them they don't have anything to fear. That means I hate them." Anyway, so yeah. Any final thoughts? I'm gonna let you go, and maybe I'll look at the chat a little bit. Nobody else has come in here. I don't know what's going on. Do you have any final thoughts, Mr. Blur? Are you there?
I, I had something. What was it? All right.
Uh,
Well,
can't have this
I
dead
guess
air.
I was saying that the toxic masculinity thing with
Yeah.
that. Now that's the one that makes me want to smack the shit out of you, because then that's blaming men for the reasons that they kill themselves, which is just disgusting.
Of course it is.
But I guess ultimately, like, it's like, the shit, and like the chickens are gonna come home to roost, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of just sitting back waiting to see where everyone is when smoke clears, because especially with the Department of Homeland Security just deciding that the manosphere is a group of domestic terrorists, and I was just like, oh cool, I can say
Yeah.
I'm a domestic terrorist now. So
Oh,
yeah, because
yes, we are.
for the
That's right. Department of Homeland Security and all that.
yeah, because for the crime of men wanting to be treated fairly, or men just wanting to be left alone, you are
Mm-hmm.
dangerous,
Mm-hmm.
because that tracks.
Yeah, well, again, they're not in it to help men or women for that matter. But thank you, Mr. Blur, for coming on. I'm gonna move myself into the show channel. And yeah, I appreciate the call. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, man. Talk to you later. Okay, I got a super chow, big one from Smokey Joe. I'm gonna put it on the screen, even though it's gonna look like an absolute mess, but I gotta because you did that. So Smokey Joe gives us $10 and says, "This happened to me. A friend of about 30 years backed away from issues he'd been on board with seemingly forever. The coof turned him into a snarky, sniping, dismissive individual." Oh man. Yes, the coof did that. That did break up a lot of friendships. Like, especially, I didn't even bring that up with the guy I was talking to yesterday. He wanted to talk about January 6th and shit, but yeah, I didn't even bring that up. I bet that he's like, all down with it. He thinks Jon Stewart's a genius and all that. But anyway, um, The Coof turned him into a snarky, sniping, dismissive individual. I tried to find answers, but he just got more defensive and distant. Haven't seen him or his family for 2 years now. I saw a comment in the chat that this can be quite black pilling, but although upsetting, I'm glad I found out as soon as things got a bit difficult. Rather than later, I would have believed I could count on him for support in some way. Sorry I couldn't get Discord to work on my ancient machine. We'll try another time. It's okay. Thank you, Smokey Joe. I'm sorry that happened to you. You know, it really sucks when you have very old friends and like something happens that kind of tests your friendship and like, you know, they just abandon you. Let me ask you this, because like in my case, I have never like blocked or unfriended or banned or anyone. Like even like there are guys that we used to be my friend that were so like pissed with me because not even like, you know, when TDS like with like they all have TDS, these guys, right? And I didn't even say that I was like, you know, like all on board, MAGA all the way. I've never done that. I've never done that. I've only ever been like, well, I think this guy's being treated unfairly here, right? Oh, well, I think the media is lying about this thing, you know, about Trump or whatever. And people will think that that means I'm just ride or die, you know. And it's exactly the same as when I say, you know, I think Bill Cosby was railroaded into a conviction. I think Harvey Weinstein is railroaded into a conviction. People think that means I just love these people. It's like, no, I don't. I care about the truth and I care about what is right. And I'm just speaking on that. But when it came to like, you know, this stuff, oh my God, it just ooh, I get, you know, it sucks, man. It sucks. But I've never unfriended them, but they have like avoided me like the plague, right? Or they would do this concern trolling thing. I don't know if you've ever heard this, but I've gotten this from a couple of guys where they're like, you know, I'm kind of afraid of this dark path you're going down. Like they'll talk like this is Star Wars, right? You're going on a dark path. I'm concerned. Oh my God, I fucking hate that. I hate concern trolls, especially when they've known me. It's like, you know me, motherfucker. I haven't changed that much. You know, I'm just like working with new information. Like you're going down a dark road. Oh man, I hate that. Anyway, I got another call, so this is working out. Shadow Wolf is in the screen room, so I'm gonna go join him, and I'll say hi to MK. All right, I'm going in to see Shadow Wolf. Second. All right, Shadow Wolf. Hi, what's up? Welcome to the
Hey,
show.
how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. Figured I was to the time I wind up catching these afterwards, and
No problem. What's
kind
on
of
What's on your
I thought I'd
mind?
say, well, bit of my own experience in talking with friends. I've got multiple friends in my gaming group that I've learned to kind of hold my tongue on politics for several reasons. One of them, I've tried talking about political issues, men's rights, and all that. And I brought up circumcision, and the friend, who's a former Army medic, straight up, his response to my talking about the pain and suffering it causes, like, yeah, but women like it better.
Oh my God, I've heard this before though. This is the problem with worshiping women. I mean, because that's what it is. Like, can you imagine, like, if a woman said, you know, I prefer a guy with like, you know, three fingers and a thumb on each hand because I like Bugs Bunny cartoons, and men start cutting off their pinky fingers. Can you imagine somebody saying you should just get your pinky finger removed? Why? Because women like that better. They're into that. Oh my God. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that sounds like simp behavior to me.
Oh, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Other members of the friend group have drunk the Kool-Aid in regards to COVID, the shots, the masks, all that.
Mm-hmm.
They put a lot of pressure on me to get the jab. And one of them, who I can talk about a lot of very complicated stuff, when I mentioned that I hadn't, he asked why I was so selfish.
Yeah. Oh my God. Of course you're selfish because you're making decisions about your own
Because
health.
Yeah,
You know
because
what?
I
You know
wanted
why
to
this stuff
wait and
happens?
see.
What was that?
Because I wanted to wait and see, because this is, new vaccine technique, new technology that I was absolutely not familiar with. Like, yeah, I'm not going to trust it. I want to wait and see what happens.
Okay, Allison's asked me not to talk about that stuff. She's asking,
Oh,
but she doesn't want the channel taken down.
sorry.
No, it's okay. We can just change the language or just say, the thing from 2019. But yeah, because YouTube doesn't play, but I get it. So people that you would have otherwise considered to be very reasonable and rational became irrational about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
and unfortunately, I was kind
how
of
long have you known?
raised
How long have
to
you known this
avoid.
person?
About 10 years.
Really? And okay,
Yeah.
and you can be friends with someone for a long time, but maybe you don't know them, like maybe they're in your friend group or they're people you have a hobby you share, but maybe that's it. Like, is this person somebody that you felt like kind of close to, like you knew, their family members, you knew their maybe they knew your family members, things like that, or was this just like somebody that you knew online or went to class with or work with?
They're members of I know them from tabletop gaming.
Yeah.
We gamed in person until I moved to go to college. We still game online.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I can see. Okay, so yeah, that I get. That's actually my situation too. Like the guy that I'm, one guy. I mean, there's a few other dudes that I've known for a long time. One guy I used to live with, but the guy that I was talking about yesterday, he was somebody I've known for a very long time, but mainly we just sort of like hobbied together. So it wasn't. I mean, we would get into some discussions, but it wasn't like. I don't know. Like I didn't feel like super close. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I could share like my personal feelings and weaknesses and my vulnerabilities. Like I didn't really do that with that person. So um how do you feel about that? Like does it bother you or
Um, a bit. But at the same time, I recognize that they have, they have their own histories, their own reasons for doing things. So I try not to be too judgmental.
do you ever feel sometimes okay, have you ever felt like gaslit? And I should have asked you guys this. Like yesterday, I had the debate it got so intense, and I was made to feel so wrong, even though I was sure I wasn't. That when it was over, I was having like some doubts, like where I was like, "Am I the bad guy?" Like have you ever had that? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and I've been aware of several attempts.
Yes,
Largely from my
that's what
family.
concern trolling is. Really, it's like it's gaslighting.
But
go ahead.
My family will try to, in my experience, my family tries to gaslight me. My friends try to convince me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like a struggle session. That's what I experienced yesterday.
I mean, thankfully, the friends I game with are fairly diverse in terms of their political views, so I'm not alone, at least in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I'm aware, I'm the only non-liberal in my family, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get it. Like, I can't tell my mother about what I do. She doesn't know. She wouldn't get it. Like, it's like, it's not easy. So, okay. So, I think, if you have any final thoughts, because I think I'm going to wrap it up there.
No, I do really appreciate you guys. Sorry about putting it in the danger zone. Wasn't
No,
don't
look, dude, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. If it was me, I would just like not. I wouldn't be. I would just leave it up. But Allison's just really like worried. so it's okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it.
I get that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if it's something that, because I know that some people still talk about it, some people don't. I don't know, so I don't know what the
Yeah,
rules
but
are because they're constantly
better
changing.
safe than sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. But I think we all understand, and probably a lot of people here relate. Odds are. So
Yeah,
check it out, Jojo. He's okay. Hi, Jojo.
that's good.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, final thoughts, Shadow Wolf, before I let you go.
Not really. I am making efforts to try and improve my life. Trying to cut out some bad habits, pick up a new hobby.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
All right. That's great, man. Well, you can stay here if you want. I'm gonna move into the show channel. I see that the Fish Got Nukes is typing, but I don't know if he's gonna come in here. And if nobody else comes, I'm gonna end the show. So thanks, Shadow Wolf.
All right.
I'm gonna move into the show channel now, and I'll see you later. Okay. Let me see. Do I have any other? I'll come on, Fish Got News. Okay. All right. MK, I'm gonna go in there and talk to MK really quick. All right. Oh, you can stay there, Fish Got Nukes. Okay, MK, what's up? Is your thing working? Let me just check. You're not muted. And neither of you guys are muted. Can you guys talk? Hello? You need permissions?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, great. I'm sorry, I forgot to.
It's
that
all
I
right.
have the
MK,
thing
what's
to
up?
talk. Yeah, it's about losing friends and so, not talking about the topic Alison doesn't want us to mention. The issue is I'm facing a, well, shit hits the fan situation at the moment. I'm endangered of getting homeless, and I had some friends who told me that it's okay for them that I store some of my stuff with them, and a few even told me that I can couch surf with them. And yeah, I'm in the code red situation now and ask
Holy
for their
crap.
help, and they all let me go. And yeah, it's more about a question I have actually, because you wrote in the title how to cope. Question is how to cope with a situation like this if your friends abandon. I mean, one has a good apology for it because he's emigrating to another country, but yeah.
Yeah, wow, man. So where are you right now in the world?
I'm in Switzerland.
Switzerland, okay. And you don't have a place to stay, and your friends won't, like, you're the people that you thought were your friends are not able or willing to help you. Is this because of their inability or because of some disagreement, like they don't like you or your ideas?
Yeah, actually, I'm losing my current accommodation, and well, I have to move out here. And my friends always told me, "Yeah, it's no issue, man. We have a couch." Other one that is moving to another country had a guest room I could have had. But now they all said, "Oh no, please do not come to me. I don't want this," and so on. Actually, one said, "I'm too negative for, well, yeah, situation giving me depression, let's be honest." But
Yeah.
yeah, actually, they didn't tell me. To me, it looks like they were all some kind of leeches. You know, I'm the guy fixing computers, so not really friends, I guess.
Holy shit, man.
Are
I
you similar?
want to
Well,
help you. Is there anyone in the chat that lives in Switzerland that can like offer some assistance? I don't know much about the country, but maybe you guys can help him out in some way. This is a I'm really sorry that you're going through that. I couldn't imagine. Well, how much time do you have?
hard to say. Sometimes it's summer, then it's autumn. Issue is welfare department. I'm on an invalidity. I'm sorry, I hate stuttering. Just mention it once in a while. And the welfare department made me live in my parents' house, and since my dad died, house became too much. My mother wants to sell it. She doesn't have a buyer yet, but as soon as she have one, I have to move out. So it's somewhere in this year, but that's all I know. and the welfare department wouldn't allow me to move in a rented flat because for some reason, I don't know why, if it's on purpose or just stupidity, I'm sorry to say, they do not understand, well, that I have to move out. They say, "Oi, it's a agreeable situation. You can stay there." No, I can't. But they don't understand that.
Yeah. Are you in our Discord? Not this one, but the actual Honey Badger Brigade Discord?
No, I'm not.
All right, I'm gonna send here. Here's what I'm gonna do. I can't, like, obviously I'm in the United States. I don't know. I don't think I can help you, and I'm also kind of struggling. But what I'm gonna do is I'm going to um invite you to the Discord, and you can go in there, and because there's a big community there, and there are probably people that can direct you someplace and help you out.
Well, I already got a good lawyer from my law enforcement insurance. He's trying to convince the welfare department. My question was more like how to cope with a situation like friends abandoning you when shit hits the fan situation.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. This is tough because like, this is something that, it's no one would dream of. What about family? Do you have family that you can rely on?
Disowned me.
No?
They did, yes, they did. They disowned me because what did my godmother, also my auntie, say? She's God damn it, she's ashamed of me because I lost my job, and she can tell nobody that she's related to me, and the rest of the family immediately sided with her because yeah, I'm the only one who doesn't have a university degree in my generation. We only have two cousins and me in this current, but they all have university degree. I have been bullied out of college. I was Title IX before in the United States. I had a Title IX. Yeah, I've seen my fair share of shit, let's be honest.
Yeah. That shouldn't happen to anybody.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not.
I'm trying to think, like, okay, so I'm going to see, and I hope you guys too can find some resources that will help this guy out. So what I would ask that you do is go into the Discord. I know the people that are like in our Discord are watching this, and maybe they can help you out. We'll figure something out just so that you can, like, maybe just like start on a path to get back on your feet, and you don't have to deal with this. And I'm really sorry that happened. That should not, like, that's ridiculous. This kind of thing is just breaks my heart, man.
I find some other words than ridiculous to describe the
Yeah, I know.
situation.
I want to,
I
but
appreciate the help, man. I appreciate the
you're
help.
welcome. I hope that we'll figure this out, man. We'll figure something out. Um, in the meantime, I do have to talk to Fish Got Nukes. You can stay here if you want, MK. If it's okay with the Fish Got Nukes, it's okay with me.
Fine with me.
Fine with you? Okay. So, what's up, man? What's on your mind?
Well, I was just kind of thinking recently about how, like, when you're younger, you're just, doing your thing. But now I find half my friends, if I talk to them on the phone, they sound a certain way. I'm afraid, oh man, is he going to kill himself or something? It's really messed up.
Hmm.
Got a couple friends like that, so it's stressful to
I do too.
even, like, you know what I mean? It's pretty messed up.
They don't feel, you know what I've noticed in with some of my friends, they don't think they don't think there's any love in the world at all. Like, that's how dark it's getting for them. And I mean, I understand where it comes from, but they have, like, we need an out, man. Like, I get it. So what do you normally do? Do they come to you for help?
Just, call them for a few days. Maybe, sometimes they pick up, but they don't. But if you don't hear from them and then they pick up, he was like, oh, I'm having, I might, just kill myself. It's like, that. Don't do it, man. Don't do it. Don't go to the hospital. Don't kill yourself. Just try to work a way out or something. Come up with some kind of plan and execute it.
Yep.
And then, but they're in depression. They're like, oh, well, I don't know. I mean, they just reject every possible thing you're trying to come up with. It's just,
Yeah.
So, some people's problems is, problems are problems, but at least if you're not thinking about killing yourself, you ain't really got problems.
Yeah, that's true. Again, that's I'm really sorry that you people are going through that, but it is like a growing issue. What would you recommend for people that are in that dark place?
All your friends
Mm-hmm.
that at least you think care about you, go to
Mhm.
church, find a community, pray, read the Bible, find
Yeah.
Jesus, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Standard stuff. Exercise, of course.
Actually, you know what? I
exercise.
don't know, man. Finding Jesus doesn't seem to be that standard these days.
True.
Maybe 100 years ago. You know?
Well,
But I think that I was gonna, now that you mentioned it, actually, maybe MK, maybe you. I don't know if there's churches in Switzerland, but you might be able to find some help there. So that's a thought. I don't know. But well, Fish got news. Thanks, and thanks for the contribution that you gave me the other day. Well, like last month.
yeah,
Appreciate it.
just trying to support some people for the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
I got a little bit of cash, so
Mm-hmm. I
been
appreciate it.
listening for a while. Feel like I should do something.
Did you I was gonna say what made you like? How long have you been listening to us?
Well, okay, at least a year or two, I'd say.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll send you an invite to the Discord
Sure.
too, and maybe you can help some people in there because we do. Some of us are doing all right, some of us are struggling, and I think that like we need all the help we can get. So,
Definitely
oh yeah, go ahead.
appreciate being part of the club.
Yeah, man, no problem. That's what we're trying. I think that's the important thing is that we're trying to build. So, all right. I'm gonna end the show because I gotta go pick up the wife soon. So, I wanted to thank you and Fish God Nukes. Do you have any final thoughts before I head out that you want to say?
Well, election's coming up. Better have some kind of things get jiggy again. You better be prepared.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. 2024
All
is
right.
going to be absolutely wild. That's what I will say. So we'll see. Aliens in Miami. Let's bring it on. All right. Well, thanks,
All right,
guys.
Take it easy.
Yeah, take it easy. I'll talk to you later. Have a good one. I'm going to head to the show channel and take us out. Thanks so much for calling in. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up there. And this wasn't that bad considering I didn't have a screener and I had to do everything by ear. If this happens again, I might try this another way. Maybe I'll use StreamYard or something like that. But I'm going to wrap it up there. And if you want to continue to like leave me some comments or whatever, you can do so by going to feedthebachelor.com and sending through a super chow. I will endeavor to read it on stream if you do. And in the meantime, though, I think I'm going to close it out there. And this was a success, actually. I'm surprised it worked out. So I'm so glad that you guys showed up and that you called in and gave us your thoughts. It was just great. So thanks so much. I think these are very important conversations that we should be having. So again, oh, and one other thing. If you want to help out MK with his situation in Switzerland, join us on the Discord server by going to feedthebadger.com. No, I'm sorry. It's called, what's it called? BadgerNation.online. You get access to the free area, and you can like just go in there and say, look, you know, I'm looking for MK. It's EMKAY. And then, you know, maybe you have something. Oh, I know that Michael Keller, I think you're in that part of the world. I don't know. So go to BadgerNation.online and offer like just some advice or whatever. So I don't know. Whatever we can do to help these guys out. Like no one else is going to do it, it looks like. And they're in pretty bad shape. So, all right, I'm going to wrap it up there. Gin Bottle says, Brian, when's your next He Said, She Said? Well, I might put one up tomorrow. It depends on a couple things. Basically, let me put this is in the wrong place. It depends on a couple of things. Like, you know, because it's supposed to be like a pretty bad snowstorm here, which is weird for Southwest Virginia. But I might put something up tomorrow. If I don't, then definitely by Monday there'll be another video. I have a couple of things planned. One of them is a response video. So yeah, look out for that. And I also have more clips from my talk with Justin Dwayne Parker, who's been doing really good work. I definitely recommend you check out his Substack. That's on my channel, He Said, She Said. And now, of course, always I do game streams on Honey Badger Arcade, which I'm asking you guys to check out as well. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. So if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, leave me a comment, let us know what you guys think about what we talked about. If you have any stories about like friends or family that you have either introduced to the red pill or you were shunned by them, then let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for coming on. Please share this video and we'll talk to you all in the next one.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.